Hey, what's going on, you guys? My name is The Raptor, and Deathbattle's new channel member event, Champions Island, is officially in full swing. And if you don't know what that is, then, well, thank goodness you have me. Last month, the champions were briefly able to submit individual characters in hopes that they would be selected, which eventually got narrowed down to two teams of 8 characters each, Team Wiz and Team Boomstick. Over the next few months, the channel members who have aligned themselves with each team will compete in various challenges to try to gain immunity for their team that week, and the team without immunity will have to say goodbye to one of the characters on their team. So this is naturally inspired by Survivor or Total Drama Island style TV shows, and after there's just one character left at the end, the champions will get to vote on which opponent they will face in a guaranteed upcoming episode of Deathbattle. On Team Wiz, we have Meta Knight, Flowey, Samus Aran, John Constantine, Minecraft Steve, Kamen Rider Geats, Sakuya Izayoi, and Frieren. And on Team Boomstick is Hatsune Miku, Henry Stickmin, Ash Williams, Springtrap, Spider-Man, Slenderman, Pac-Man, and Shantae. The character I submitted for this, by the way, was Beast Boy, but he didn't even make it into the top 32, and I was very offended. Still offended, actually. What am I saying? Nah, but for real, I think this is a really cool way to switch things up from the previous Champion Ballot and Tournament of Champions, so I figured why not share some of my thoughts on all this? I mean, everyone else is already doing it. Although not just my most wanted characters across this event, but also the ones I think have the very best chance of coming out on top. Obviously, preferences amongst people could change later on, or unexpected things could happen, but doing this at the beginning rather than the end is just so much more fun. You've all got the comment section as well if you want to weigh in on any of this stuff, but without any further ado, let's get into it. So let's first go over who I most want to see win this thing. The only character in this whole event that actually appears on my most wanted Death Battles list is Henry Stickmin. I know there were a couple others in the top 32 like Ken Koniki and Cyborg, but unfortunately they didn't make the final cut. Thankfully, I think Henry would end up fighting the second coming if he ended up winning this whole thing, so I don't feel I have to worry much about that specifically. But in addition to this, Peter Parker is very high on my list for most wanted returning Death Battle combatants. I know his current matchup spread isn't amazing, no pun intended, but man, I want to see him back so bad regardless. He can definitely get a good episode even if you don't love the matchup Death Battle goes with, and at this point, I don't know how else he's going to come back to the show if he hasn't already by now, so I'm really rooting for him here. As far as other characters I wouldn't mind winning, Constantine is really underrated in my opinion and already has a great matchup with Rido. Meta Knight feels quite overdue and has a few very workable opponents, which to me is honestly the best kind of character to use for an event like this. Slenderman, again, a potential combatant with a decent number of options and would bring a very unique experience from most other episodes, and also Ash Williams, because it's Ash Williams and that would be cool as hell. So I would say those are my main 6 that I really want to see win this thing, meaning that I generally align myself more with Team Boomstick. There are definitely other characters in this lineup where I'd be interested to see what comes out of it, both in regards to the chosen matchup and the episode itself. But yeah, I got the main ones I want, and through that I have my overall team. But now we'll go over my thoughts for what is most likely to happen by the end of all of this. To put it bluntly, I think this event is really a race between Springtrap and Hatsune Miku. I know, daring predictions, but I gotta go with what I actually think. Springtrap was being shouted out as a frontrunner for this before character submissions were even open, and we know Hatsune was the top pick from the final 32 for Team Wiz and Team Boomstick, so it's safe to say that the champions want to get her in a lot. As far as the episode they'd probably get, Springtrap is very divided in who people want him to fight, which is why I urge everyone to be careful for what you wish for, because you still might not get everything you want. If I had to wager a guess, I would give a slight edge to Springtrap versus Junko Enoshima. In most places that I've looked at, it just seems to be a little more popular comparatively, and this is being determined by a vote. But admittedly, it could go in any of the major directions. Chucky or Bendy could take the spot, and I would not be surprised at all. As for Hatsune Miku, before I might have said the guy from Disturbed or even 2D from Gorillaz as her opponent, but nowadays I think Barbie has kind of been taking over as her most talked about. I'm not here to say whether or not I think that's her best option out of all of them, but the increase in discussion of this matchup and the popularity of Barbie in general makes me think this would win out if it was solely up to the fans, which again, it is. As far as trying to rule some characters out, I bet Samus and Spider-Man could make it pretty far, but overall I think the champions are going to favor a completely new combatant by the end. I think there's going to be some Pac-Man versus Luigi haters that stop Pac-Man from getting too far, since I think that's the matchup that would come out of this if he won. I feel like a lot of people would either want Springtrap or Slender Man, so I don't know if I see much hope for him. And some other ones like Ash and Constantine, I just can't see overcoming all of the competition based on what we know the community likes to vote for. But to give out some others I think have a chance for one reason or another, I think Steve kind of goes without saying. No matter what happens, I think he's going to get a lot of consistent support from some of the champions, and he'd definitely fight either Emmett or Terrarian. Also, based on how well Sans versus the Judge did in the Tournament of Champions, I think Henry and Flowey have among the higher percentages of going all the way. Henry would almost certainly fight the Second Coming, as I said earlier, and I have to imagine Monica would get voted to fight Flowey, unless the princess manages to surpass her. And finally, Kamen Rider Geats along with Springtrap was voted to have special immunity going into the first challenge happening in like a week, I believe, and people have wanted Kamen Rider on the show for so long now that I think he's gonna be a priority for some people to keep in. That being said, he doesn't look to have a major front-running opponent at this time, so I have no idea who everyone would choose to fight him. Any character I didn't specifically mention, I don't really have any big thoughts on how well they'll do, or I think it could go either way, and obviously we could all get very surprised by what ends up happening certain weeks. Stuff like this is always unpredictable. But yeah, those are my 6 bets, I guess you could say, to mirror my 6 roots, but like I said, my 2 main roots are Henry Stickmin and Spider-Man, and my 2 main bets are Springtrap and Hatsune Miku at this moment. Of course, if you feel differently, you can share it in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this video, definitely feel free to like and subscribe. I can't wait to see how everything unfolds, but until then, I hope you have a great day and that I'll see you again soon. Peace out.